Okay. Okay. Happy Friday. Man, it's crappy today. It's 45 degrees. Um, it's going to get warmer, though. It's going to be prairie dog season and snake time and all that stuff. So, this is going to be story time. And this one's about my buddy who just passed away, Jon Harrouf. Good guy. John was my buddy. We'd go shooting prairie dogs, and man, I tell you, I'm going to tell you a couple stories. But I hate prairie dogs. I hate them. I have ever since I was a kid, probably because my father hated prairie dogs. And so he hated prairie dogs and he hated snakes. He was scared to death of snakes. And so Dad would always have, he'd always have a shovel or a gun or something on the rack in the back. And I got the gun here. I'll show you. But people think I'm a sadist for going out and killing prairie dogs, and they say, oh, they're so cute, and, they need a place to live too, and all that jazz, right? So no, I put it to people this way. Prairie dogs are rodents, and if you've got land, grazing land or whatever, they will eat it to the bone, man. You let them go, they will. It's the way of the world, man. That's how it works. And I tell people, they say, oh, I can't believe you're killing those poor little prairie dogs. Well, you know what? Here, I put it to you this way. If you had 2,000 mice in your house, what would you do? You'd kill them. You'd kill every one of them that you could. You'd get a couple cats, you'd get some traps, you'd put poison out until they were gone. It's exactly the same way with prairie dogs, man. They will eat you out of house and home. They'll get in your stuff. Prairie dogs just wreck the land and tear up grass, and there's going to be some Debbie do-gooders out there that are going to be pissed at me for shooting prairie dogs. Sorry. Anyway, I don't know whether this is for children or not. I'm probably going to label it as not being, because I'm going to tell some stories. Anyway, shooting prairie dogs is fun. So when I was a kid, Dad had this gun. It's a Stevens. It's a Stevens model. Hell, I don't even know where it is. Doesn't matter, I guess. Oh, it's a model 87B. Single shot, semi-automatic. Iron sights, no place to put a scope. Dad carried this. He couldn't hit a bullet with a broadside of a barn with this. Dude, he was a horrible shot. He couldn't do it, man. He'd come close. He scared prairie dogs. He scared them a lot. And he'd use this to kill snakes with hollow point bullets sitting in the pickup. Anyway, it was pretty hilarious to watch. So now, after Dad passed away, I got the gun, and I decided that I was going to upgrade. And I bought a Winchester Super Magnum 17. Shoots a little bitty bullet, and it goes about 3,000 feet per second, and it's got the polymer tip, and so when you get a prairie dog. Anyway, so I upgraded, and so the first time that I was going to go shooting with John, John had a really deep voice. He says, so what gun you bringing? I said, I'm bringing my 17 Winchester Super Magnum. I was all excited. He's like, what? A pellet gun? It's not a pellet gun, John. And I showed him. He's like, He says, what are you going to do? Tickle him with it? And I said, well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So we went out and we got the gun sighted in. And I knocked the crap out of the prairie dogs with this. And he was kind of surprised. That was the first time we went out. And so now, one thing that you have to realize when you go out with John, it was a 1980 Chevy pickup. And it had the tweed seat covers covered in dirt on the inside. And you had to make sure you brought enough ammunition, because if you're going out with John, you're going out until the sun goes down. And that is no kidding. Take something to eat, take some water, and you better take sunscreen. Because John had this thing, I just realized this, I was just telling the guys at the store, John had this impeccable way of making sure that he was always in the shade. And I just caught on to it. I kept going back and thinking, it's like, man, it was so damn hot that day. And I'd just be pouring sweat, I'd be sunburned. And John would be like, wow, you're really sweating. I sure am, John. Dude, I was in the sun all the time. I never even thought about it. And you had to wear a hat, too. Anyway, and if you didn't take anything to eat, John had like one of those big old Tootsie Roll things, one that had probably seen a couple of birthdays on his dash, and I ended up eating one of them one day because I was starving. But there's always be one or two of those in the thing. And so we go shooting a couple times, and I'm kind of a spontaneous guy, and I went to Yuma Guns. I went to Yuma Guns and talked to Rick and Pat one day, and I was just in there farting around. And this was right after Marcy had passed away. And so John and I had become buddies, and I had lots of extra time on my hands in the afternoons, and so we'd go shoot prairie dogs. I walked into the Yuma Guns, and they had a used XR-15 Bushmaster 223, and it had an air rifle scope on it. I mean, it wasn't anything fantastic, not what I have set up now. Anyway, it wasn't real expensive, and I said, holy cow, it's a 223, it's a semi-automatic, and I don't think it had hardly been used a bit, so I bought it. And I couldn't wait to talk to John. And I said, John, guess what? He's like, what'd you buy now? And I said, I bought a 223. And he says, is there an AR platform? And I said, sure is. And he says, what the hell did you buy one of those for? Those things aren't accurate. You just wasted your money. I said, it's my money, John, and I wanted one. Well, okay, whatever. You should have bought a bolt. Action. Okay. So I go out to his house. It was the 4th of July. It was 104 degrees. 4th of July, and I take the gun out there, and he says, well, let's go sight that damn thing in. I said, okay, John. So we get out there, and we get it sighted in pretty close. And he says, you want to keep going? I said, no, I don't want to keep going, John. I'm good. Let's just go shoot something. I mean, it's dead noon. It's 104, man. It's hot. And we went out there, and he was pissed at me because I spent money on it. And I only paid $500 for the gun, used, with a scope. And so we go out there, and I'm hitting every one of them that I point the gun at. Every one of them. One right after the other. He's like, He's like, I don't think it's the gun, I think it's the shooter. Because I'm a pretty good shot. Anyway, so we get done shooting. I said, man, dude, I got to go, man. I got to work tomorrow. It's hot. And I'm scorched. I didn't take a hat. I still had my work clothes on. I was so excited about going. So we're on the way back to town. He's like, so how much pay for that? And I said, I paid $500 then plus tax and ammunition. He says, I'll give you $5 for it. Oh, so now you want one? Well, I just want that second shot, Because, with bolt actions, like you always wish you had that recovery of shooting the second shot. So, anyway, skip forward, we shoot hundreds of prairie dogs. And just this last year, my 17 Winchester Super Magnum started not working. It wasn't extracting the shell. I cleaned it. He gave me some bore cleaner, different things. Anyway, the gun was screwed up, and so I had to switch back to my 223 XR semi-automatic. And so we go out. This is the second to the last time that we got to go out. And John's pickup was running like crap. It was stalling and sputtering and doing crazy stuff, and he'd have to goose it. I don't remember. Anyway, so we get out there, and we're driving along, and John says, there's a prairie dog, 12 o'clock. And I said, okay. So 12 o'clock's right off the hood. And so I get the gun out, and I'd forgotten. I hadn't shot this gun in probably over a year, at least a year. So I got out, get it all ready, shoot the prairie dog, and I'm leaning up against the door jamb, and I'm in between the antenna and the window, and boom, and I missed. I hadn't quite got it dialed in yet. Boom, and I missed. And I just started walking across, boom. And John says, "What the hell are you shooting at?" And I said, "Well, what?" He says, "The bullet landed about 30 yards out in front." I said, "Well, I don't know, John. I have no idea. I don't know what happened." So we start idling down the prairie again. And he's got his glasses out, and he's scoping along, and he looks, and he says, "Well, I know why that bullet landed 30 feet out in front." And I said, "What's that?" "This is John's antenna." The barrel on the 17 that I was shooting would always hit this, and so I would always have to go around it. The barrel on the XR-15, the 223, was shorter. And by God, if I didn't smoke that right off of there. And I never done anything like that before. I'm glad it didn't go through the hood of his truck. Oh my God. I was like, "John, I'll buy you a new one." "Oh my God, I'll buy you a new one." "Oh, don't worry about it. It happens." And I said, "Well, still, I'm going to get you a new antenna." And so we go through the rest of the day, and we just knocked the crap out of them. We shot upwards of 90. It was in between 90 and 100. Kind of lost count on some of them, but I would, keep track of different things. So anyway, we go back to town, and his pickup still isn't working right, and it kind of died a couple of times. It barely got started by the time we got back home. So the next day, John comes in and he drags this in and says, "Here's your trophy," and he throws it on the desk. And I said, "Oh, let's go get you a new one." He said, "Don't bother, I got a new one." I said, "Okay." So it was about a week later, and pickup not starting, not wanting to run, and I said, "I'll just follow you down there, John, and we'll get to the pasture and all that stuff, and if it dies, then we have another way home, because I am not getting stuck out here." It was 100 degrees again, and so we get out there, and I get the gun ready, and we roll down the windows, and we're ready to go, and he stops the truck, and he hands me a pair of pliers. I said, "What?" And he says, "You want to go ahead and take that antenna off of there?" Because he could see it happening again. And I just got out, and I'm like, "Okay, John." And so I hopped out, and I undid the antenna and brought it in. And after that, we idled down about, 50 yards. And the pickup actually stopped. Wouldn't turn over. Wouldn't come back starting again. And dude, we're half a mile from my pickup. Easy half a mile. And I said, "So you want to switch to mine?" And he said, "Well, I can't get in yours." And I said, "I'll just go back and get my pickup." He says, I'll walk back and get your pickup." I said, "No, dude." I said, "That's the reason why we brought it." I said, "Stay here." And so then we jumped it, and we brought it back, and we didn't get a go. That was last time I got to go out with John. And we were going to go out the Sunday after he had a heart aneurysm on a Friday, and he ended up passing away on his birthday, and also the same day that Marcy died. So it was March 8th. March 8th was kind of a really tough day for me. Anyway, I talked to his daughter today, and I made sure it was okay that I told those stories because his benefit of life thing is going to be on the 29th, and we're gonna shoot some guns and remember Jon. So anyway, I had to tell that story. And the thing about technology is, this is the best technology the dad had was that in the day. Technology I've got's a lot better, and it's so much fun. And some people teach their own, man. So anyway, I know that's kind of a long story, but anybody want to go shoot prairie dogs with me, man? Let me know. It's a great time, and it's helping ranchers out and things like that. And we're not going to get them all. Everybody thinks that we're trying to eradicate them. There's no way that we can possibly eradicate all the prairie dogs. So, anyhow, happy Friday. It's going to be, prairie dogs are going to be coming out. They're out already. I got a couple on Wednesday. It's not the same. Not the same without Jon, but I sure gave it the college try. Usually after Mother's Day, Memorial Day weekend, it'll be good times. So anyway, have a good weekend, and let me see if I can get this to turn off. Let me see. We'll talk at you later. Come on.